Hi, it's Ileana at Awakening Cosmic Reality Show, and I have Sandra McEllis with me today. Sandra is a healer and she's a hypnosis practitioner. Welcome, Sandra.
Thank you. Wonderful to be here. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Awesome for a sunny Sunday.
Yes, it's definitely nice and warm. It's no longer raining or snowing, so that's good.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about you today and the healing practices and hypnosis that you do. So can you tell us about yourself, who you are, how you became a healer and a hypnosis practitioner?
Sure. I think I've always had healing abilities all my life without knowing what they were. I've always had a sense of energy around me without even knowing what the word energy is or was. I've always gotten messages that I could never explain because they sound just like me, but they're a lot wiser. And I had just an ability to work with children and pets. And then eventually, when I grew up, I became a massage therapist and went into self-taught healing. So that's when beings began to come in and I could feel and see energy. And interesting enough, I innately knew how to mingle and work around it. So then fast forward a few years from there, I had a really bad car accident. And I knew in the middle of the accident, something was trying to take me out and I couldn't figure out what it was. And I was really mad because my 6-year-old was in the car at the time. So after that, I started doing more healing work with people that I knew. I was already certified in Reiki, Sikkim, and Sikkim. So I went to my master and asked for a healing session. And in that session, the whole car accident came forward and I could see 3 big light beings come down and on both sides of my Suburban and on the back, and they literally pivoted my car into a 180 because technically I shouldn't even be here talking because my Suburban was hit by a truck. So anyway, I had a long talk with whatever it was, and then I just continued my journey with getting more past life regression work, which was really, I would say, helped me understand me on a different level. And it also solidified that this isn't my first rodeo. So it brought things forward that were important. And then I just continued on with additional advanced Reiki and beyond quantum healing, and then past life regression certifications, hypnosis. So I did a lot of things that I knew worked for me and then bundled them all together and created the embodiment of the soul.
So how do you do the energy healing through the Reiki with your clients?
Yes. So, Reiki, of course, is symbols. So the most common Reiki is the Dr. Sui, the Japanese symbols. And so you work with those because they have activations and codes within them for a variety of things. But I've gone on to get Shamanic Reiki, Violet Flame, Fire Reiki, Blue Star Reiki, and so on and so forth. And the reason why I did a lot of that was because when I was in my massage therapy center and I would work on clients, they would say, "What do you do? Like, what are you doing? Like, you're different than anyone I've ever seen." And I would just go, "Oh, it's just energy work." And they go, but they wanted a name for it. And so when I first got certified in Reiki, Sikkim, and Sikkim, then I just said Reiki because no one was going to understand the ancient Egyptian Sikkim and Sikkim. And I would still get, "What's that?" So I just call it energy work. I'm really not big into talking about certifications and because it's all here. And when I'm drawn towards a class, all it's doing is activating and awakening something that's of an interest within my own DNA. And then it helps empower me to work with the clients with a variety of things. So in answer to your question, If I do a sacred healing session, that's going to be something that would involve the Reiki. So I can do that in person, but since, you know what, we're doing the more Zoom. And so I'm required to really tune in prior to the session. And then symbols will come to me, and then I will write them down. And then when I'm on the phone with the client, they'll begin to give me an initial what's happening. And the accuracy is just, it just is there. And so we can do the healing through the Zoom, which is easy.
Mm-hmm. And do you also do entity attachment removals and implant removal? Is that part of your healing stuff?
So actually, no, it's not. I haven't been called in that direction. I'm called more about empowering the client to really reach deep in within themselves, to get to know themselves, to bring the heart center, the soul self to the forefront, to the driver's seat, and get to know themselves in that way. I've just not been called for implant removal and things like that. So I refer out. I have a network of people that I like to refer to. I know you do that, which is awesome.
Yeah, I do. I scan first the body with a medical intuitive session, and that's part of the energy healing session. I do Reiki too, but I now call it energy healing because people ask, what is Reiki? They have no idea what that is. And when I tell them, they're like, I prefer the more advanced energy healing just with the energy and the ETs combined. And I'm like, okay, but Reiki's just part of, it's running in the background, doing its thing, scanning the body, working on energy blockage removal and healing the organs. And the advanced energy thing with the ETs is also doing its thing in the forefront. So it's a combination of both that's doing the healing. Mm-hmm. So because Reiki teaches you how to figure out where the energy flows are, where the blockages are, where the pains are, and how to disperse that. That's sure. What Reiki is. And then you have the attunement symbols, and those help to heal things from the past life trauma in the current life, trauma, stuff that's in the future even. Like there's the Honshaze Shonen, Sehiki. There's so many different ones. There's the Mara for grounding. That's Osai Reiki because I'm trained in Osai Reiki. So I don't say the symbols out loud. I just envision them and I run them in the background for the energy healing.
Yes.
Because there might not be time to explain to the client what Reiki is and what the symbols are. So just gently running in the background, doing part of the work as the forefront energy healing is done with me sort of directing the energy and asking the client questions about what I see about their body and the soul, what needs to be healed or what's coming up for them. Sometimes it's not physical healing, it's emotional healing that needs to happen. So for me, and the implants, those, not everybody has implants. Some do, some don't. Some are born with them. Some are inserted. Some are good implants. Some are not so good implants that need to be taken out of the body and removed for the person's health to improve, because the implants are blocking their natural healing energy. So they can't heal with the implants inside the body. Sometimes they're very etheric, energy based. Sometimes they're physical things that, you know, are smaller than microscopic, so you can't see it on an MRI, but it's there, and that it needs to be removed. So it's interesting. And entity attachments, those can be big or small too. It depends on what's created. Sometimes people, if they're feeling mad, sad, angry, frustrated, they can create their own energetic negative thought forms that become entities. That it's not an external entity, it's your own emotional entity that becomes attached to you. It's yours because it's created by our emotion. Or it can be entities that are external, like parasites, energetic parasites, energy vampires, people who are attacking us. They're directing the entity attachment. They are the entity attachment. And there's the nasty extraterrestrial negative beings or archons, whatever you want to call them. They could be the entities. And sometimes it's just parasites, like, bacteria and parasites. Those are also entities. They could be physical.
Sure.
So there's so many different types. And it's really about figuring out what it is and addressing it accordingly to how to heal it and remove it. So I don't say, oh my gosh, it's so simple. It's just I look at the person, what the situation is, what the things are that's attacking them, and how to heal that. So I usually take about 15 minutes just to figure out what it is through the scan and how to best deal with treating it and healing it and removing it if it needs to be removed.
Sure. And for me, I just find the energy so sacred. I would never dabble in something that I don't feel I have the expertise in, because my thing is do no harm, at all. So I'm not going to allow my ego or something to say, let me just try this. And then, I've created something that, isn't for their highest good, and nor was it for mine. So I get that. Now, I raised a daughter who came into this side, speaking to the other side before she spoke English, and she always had a lot of visitors. And even then, I didn't know what to do with all of that. So that was right about the time when indigos started coming out. And I took her to a workshop, and they said she was an indigo healer, crystal or something. But that person taught her how to do prayers of protection and so on, because this kid wouldn't even sleep. I mean, she wouldn't sleep. And, just having so much multidimensional knowledge, it was a little difficult sometimes to have conversations, but I knew she came through me for this, and it was a learning experience. And I think that's probably why I work with children a little bit now too, to help them keep their memories intact and get them to where they need to go in order to, if they have implants or something else. So my daughter said to me the other day, she says, Mom, there was always something that looked like a reaper at my doorway, and it used to scare me to death. But it wasn't until I got older that I realized that he was a protector. But she just described him like, a cartoon reaper type thing. So I admire what you do, because, you have to be, you're going to do psychic surgeries and all those kinds of things. You need to know what you're doing. You wouldn't go to a GP, a general practitioner, and ask him to take out your appendix. He probably could maybe do it, but no.
Well, even going to the GP is a whole other story. I have now hypermobility, where my joints are super loose and hyper, like my jaw and stuff. And this could be genetic. This could be something, last summer is really hot and it triggered my joints to become loose. I don't blame myself. I get when I scan myself that it's collagen loss inside the body. So I just heal myself, and I do physiatrist adjustments on myself, and I heal myself with energy healing to remove the swelling and inflammation. So this is the best I can do for self-care. I don't claim I can heal everything, and I don't make any guarantees to be able to cure everything and anything.
Sure.
Some things are, energy healing helps with pain removal, with organs, healing emotional things, blockages. But if something is on a deep level, I think on quantum healing, maybe you can heal it. Some people can, some can't. I don't make claims that I could just cure everything.
Sure.
Because again, I do what's within my capability. And a lot of people are very happy with the energy healings. They're like, I feel much better, or the pain is less, or it's gone. I'm emotionally lighter, I'm balanced and grounded. I've had those comments about my energy healings. And for myself, I'm just doing pain management with the energy healing, making sure that things don't swell up and get inflamed, because with hypermobility, if you don't adjust yourself, if you don't do the stretching exercises, the walking, things can pop out of joint, misalign, and then I pop it back in and I do the energy healing.
Ouch.
No, not at all. It doesn't hurt much. It's just being hyper and loose jointed
Mm-hmm.
means you have more, your joints are looser, so you feel not as tight as everybody else. So I just, if my shoulder pops out, I just go boom back in. But
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I'm super, super tight. And I have to really stretch a lot. And of course the injuries, surgeries, this, that, and the other doesn't help. And then emotionally you don't realize how much is in there too. So you're cautious in your movements. So I have to do extra stretching, and sometimes I wish I could snap, crackle, pop, and I attempt it, but it doesn't always work for me.
Yeah, I don't wish the snap, crackle, and pop on anyone, because honestly, you don't want to be walking around clicking and popping with joints that are loose. It's not a nice feeling, really, because it's like you feel sometimes you lose control of your things. I'm not double jointed or anything. It's mild hypermobility, but with the jaw, I can't move it side to side anymore much. I can open it and close it, but I have to be very careful, and I adjust myself. Going back to the GP, I went to my family doctor and I asked, can you send me to anybody who's a physiatrist? He's like, what is that? It's doctors that work with physical medicine.
It's like saying, do you know what a functional medicine is? No.
Well, it's a little beyond functional medicine.
Yes, it is.
These are doctors who deal with physical medicine, everything to do with joints, ligaments, muscles, adjustments, even prolotherapy, dextrose injections that make your ligaments stronger. And when I asked, he's like, I don't know. I never heard of that. All I can do for you is send you to a rheumatologist, which he did. And she was very wonderful. She did a virtual with me appointment. And she asked me deep questions. Good doctors will ask you good questions. What are your symptoms? When did it start? How long has it been? What are you experiencing? She covered everything, and I had a list with me of the descriptions of what happened and when. So it's like, I just have experience with stuff from the past, weird things in my body coming and going in terms of symptoms. So I'm like, okay, well, as long as I can describe to her in an easy way what's happened and what it is, she's like, that's hypermobility. Everything you just told me is hypermobility. We'll order the urine tests, we'll order the blood work, and we'll order x-rays from head to toe. I'm like, thank you, very good. So it was a 20-minute easy chat with her because I had everything written down. When people go to the doctor, they should have everything written down and easy to describe, because not every doctor is to the same level as you expect them to be, and that's okay. I don't expect anybody to know everything medically. So when I did my research, I'm even asking for a referral to a guy who knows hypermobility. He's a geneticist in Calgary. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm asking a referral to have a virtual appointment with him. It's going to be in about 2 years. I don't know if he'll take me or not, but we'll see. But I've prepared everything, like all the medical history, the descriptions, because if the more I give right away to the person to understand what's going on with me, the easier it is to facilitate appointments and assessments. Same with energy healing. Some people will tell me up front what's going on. Some people will not tell me anything, and I just scan and look. Doesn't matter if you tell me or not, I'll still find it. Energetically, I'll still find what's happening to you. Some people are just shy about talking about their things, what's going on, especially genitals. They are sometimes shy. And I say, look, this is your private session. Anything you say to me goes nowhere but here, you and me, and just tell me everything, because then it's easier to do the healing if I know what's going on with you. Same with physical doctors. I don't really hold back anything. If I have concerns about my body or about my mental health, I'm always upfront with doctors. And I don't use the medical system for healing or anything, because medication, I don't take anything. I just use it to do the tests, because how else are we going to know what's under the hood of the body? We're not going to
Yeah.
guess, because guessing is not good either all the time. Although I'm a psychic and I can tell what's going on, the tests are still good just to verify.
Oh, absolutely. I think we have to be proactive in anything. And I think we're at that point now in our lives that it's pretty apparent, you know, if you want to get to the next level, you've got to be proactive. So if you go to a physician, and I used to work in the medical field, the more you would say, then it would take them, oh, this diagnosis could now be this one or this one, which is different protocols. And the same thing would go with energy healing, depending on what modality you're going for. And I don't mean take a half an hour going through blah, 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 but just some acute or chronic points help the practitioner narrow down or expand out on what their treatment plan might be for you in that moment. Oh, maybe I need Archangel Michael for this. Maybe I need this for this, or maybe I need that for that. Although the end result will get there, but sometimes it helps to clarify a little bit. So I agree with you.
I mean, people ask me, how do you do the medical intuitive scan, the body scan? I'm like, I look from head to toe, what's going on in your body and where the things are: physical blockages, physical pain, emotional blockages, energetic blockages, pain barriers, disorders, diseases. I look at it all. It's like doing a medical profile. If you go to a doctor of any type in traditional or alternative medicine, they do a medical profile of you to just know what's going on with your body and with your emotional stuff. Same with the medical intuitive scan, except I don't have this monotone medical protocol like most doctors do. I'm gentle and I'm, easy about it. I just ask simplistic layman's terms questions about what I see in their body or in their soul monad or in their genetic blueprint. I ask them, what's this? What am I seeing? What is this? This is what I see, but can you describe it to me, what this feels like to you and what that is? And I get them to describe it, and they're like, yep, you got it. This is what I have in my body, but they describe it in their own way. And it's just confirmation. So it's like a medical interview, but not in a formal medical way.
Yeah, it's an intake.
Yeah.
You're doing a thorough intake.
Yeah, I never skip those, because for me, I'm very careful. I'm very methodical about doing those. And some people ask, why do you need to do that with me? Just go straight for the healing. I'm like, I don't want to miss anything, just in case. I'm very good at the medical intuitive scans, but I don't want to miss something. Right. What if they have something that they want to add, that they want healed outside of physical things, emotionally, or, relationship, because relationships are also for healing. If people are having problems with relationships, whether family, friends, work stuff, that's also energy healing, emotional energy healing. So I don't want to miss anything. That's why I do these kind of little chats. Sure.
Now, do you find the last 2 years things are a little more in depth because there's such a wide span of so many things going on, and even people just don't understand so much of what's happening to them, around them, with them, for them, against them, whatever it is? I think so many people have, some are awake and becoming aware, but at the same time, a lot of people don't really know what's happening to them. So do you find the last 2 years you have to be a little more in depth?
Well, some of my clients are very awake and they know what they're coming with. They're like, this is what's going on with me emotionally, physically. This is what I'd like healed, or this is what I would like to talk about for just emotional talking healing. Some of my clients, they come to me about other family members, like, how do I help them through this? How do I help them through that? It's mostly about not even themselves, but how to interact with their family members who are not awake, or friends, or, loved ones. So I don't know, I'm very lucky that my clients are spiritually awake and they're very much on top of everything, what's happening. But they need help with other family members for healing, like heart healing and love healing. A lot of that comes up. Just an emotional healing as well, clearing things emotionally, because it can be tough and frustrating trying to reach somebody who refuses to listen even and keep an open mind. So I say, just try your best to say what you need to say to the people, and say, be responsible and be respectful towards me when I talk to you. That's what I tell them, because even though the person might not want to listen, they still need to be respectful and kind.
Sure.
During person-to-person interactions. So I just give them tips on how to approach people without seeming like you're preaching to the choir, because we don't want to be looking like we're preaching or we're saying, you know, you need to make an attitude adjustment and change. It doesn't work like that. If people don't want to change, they won't change. So it always has to be a gentle, kind approach when you're trying to teach somebody to be open-minded, to just, you know, even hear you out. So it's a gentle, diplomatic approach. So I work with folks in healing even on those things. Because again, my clients do a lot of research. They don't listen to the news. They don't listen to mainstream media. They just have their own minds and their own opinions, and they think for themselves, which is wonderful. I'm so happy that my clients are awake. It's really wonderful to have such enlightened people. It's amazing.
Yes. Oh, I agree. And I think the more we align ourselves, the more we see things on a whole different level, that we're not here to be fixer-uppers. You know, we're not here to be converters and solicitors. And I think the more people align within themselves and gain that strength and love from within themselves, the less they want to say to others about, you know, oh, you shouldn't do this, or you know, blah, 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 blah. And it starts this dynamics. The dynamic's already going to be there. Let's just be one less, you know?
Yeah, I have a lot of clients who ask about that thing. It's like, why is everybody just going and getting it poked? It's like, what's the purpose of it? I'm like, that's just an agenda. It's a world agenda that's not nice. It's supposed to go away by 2025. Psychically, that's still what I get, hopefully earlier. And I say, just respect your loved ones, respect everybody. If somebody did get it, you know, you spoke your piece, you said what you know about these things and why you're not getting it, but respect others if they got it, because don't judge them or condemn them. We're all people, and we're all just trying to do our best in life.
Yes.
I'm not pro for it, or I'm not against it. I'm very neutral. And sometimes people ask me, can you help me make a decision? Should I do it or not? And I say, look within yourself, look within your heart, look within the soul. What's the best choice? What's the best decision for you inside? Weigh the pros and the cons. What's best for you?
Yes.
And I say, I can't make the decision for you. I can't advise you to do it or not do it. I can't advise that on anything like that I'm asked. I can say, just look within and see what comes up for you as the answer. And then I sort of go over what comes up for them when they look within. We take like a few minutes to look deep, and I guide them through a little meditation. And when they look deep, they say, this is what I feel, this is what I see, the pros and the cons. And then I say, take a couple of more minutes to see what feels right for you, if it's right or wrong. They're like, I get it. Yeah, is that right or wrong energy, feeling that energy? And that can be applied as an exercise to anything for decision making.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's interesting you just said that, because, you know, when I work with what I call the little people, I recently just had one of my little people, and I guess the school was trying to tell them that, you know, they needed to wear these type of masks. They were better. And that this person was one of 13 in the school that wasn't, you know, yet. This is early elementary school. And so I'm in the car, and I really have to kind of bite my tongue, because we're going to go to a session, and I'm like, whoo, this is not my child, you know, can't get feisty. But I just said, well, you know, that's not for everyone. There could be reasons why they do or why they don't. And no one should pressure someone into feeling that way. And this little person said, well, maybe, I should. And I said, well, that would be something you have to discuss with your parents. I said, but while we're at the light right now, I want you to do a breathing technique, which we've done. And then just simply ask your guides, is this for me right now? Just ask. Came back with a clear no. And then told me why. It was said, this wasn't this was practiced on animals, not little people, and it's not for me right now. And I mean, I'm trying to be careful with my words here, but I thought that was interesting. And the same thing with the adults, we can't just assume that everybody's out there with their eyes closed, just following the drones and doing it, because there's people that might have agonized over doing it, or we don't know. And it's not for us to judge, nor is it for them to judge us. So I stand very firmly in what I believe in. I don't even tell people what I believe in. When they say something, I don't even get into it with them, because it's just not in my anything.
Yeah, and same. I'm very neutral. And people ask me, what are your beliefs? What do you think? Did you do it or not? I'm like, I'm very neutral about it. I don't like to talk about it much in public, or if I'm engaged in a conversation, I say, look, I'm not pro or against. I don't tell people what to do or how to live their lives, and I never will. If I'm asked my opinion, I will say, look, it depends on the situation, what you're going through. Because again, sure, I don't have a personal opinion on this matter. I don't want to be forced into mandates to doing it, to be forced to do something I don't believe in doing.
I do agree with that. I think across the board, many feel that way.
Yeah, it shouldn't be mandated. Our own bodies, our own free will choices to put or not to put something in the body. This one, I will state what I think and what I know, and I don't like these kind of forceful mandates. That I won't agree with. But when we're making personal choices, it's up to the person. And like you said, I think when I do the check within, that's inner self-talk. You're talking to your inner self, to the inner you, the soul that is you. You're checking in with yourself, or you can check in with your guides. If you're able to connect with them, check in with them, because they can help too, or the angels. Yeah. Whoever you feel comfortable with, that's a positive being that you connect to.
Absolutely. And the decision has to be what that person has to make the decision for, regardless of, I always say my opinion doesn't matter. It's not about my opinion. It's about what you're doing for your overall health. And that doesn't matter what decision that is. It could be, this thing, it could be anything. And I think because I've had to learn through my own hard knocks and really getting visceral responses, which allows things to just settle differently for me. I work on teaching other people to kind of do the same thing. Just reach deep in there, because you've got to walk with you. You've got to look at you in the mirror. You've got to live with you, right? Mm-hmm. So figure out where your power source is and ask within that and stick with it, because it's all about your own inner knowing you.
Yeah, I always tell people, you have your own sovereignty that you operate in. You have your own free will and free choice. Nobody can make you do something you don't want to do. You decide ultimately in life how you're going to steer your ship, which direction, which timelines. Create your own positivity. Don't look what's happening out there to create your timeline. You create it within and around yourself, within your bubble, and people who are close to you. It's not these outer bubbles that we look to live our life. It's the inner stuff that we do. So,
well, also I think many of us that are in these healing arts are forward thinkers as well. And so it's like, okay, and then what? Okay, then what's next? And then what's next? So, you either have to stop something right in its tracks. So I think that is what's getting a lot of people coming up with. And the one thing universally is when you cross the line with the children, that's when I don't care what boundary, where you are, what you're doing, that is going to unite people to say STOP and now, you know?
Yeah. Or you're
So,
messing with people's rights and freedoms and mandating,
yes.
forcing them to do something that they don't want to do, and they're going to lose their job if they don't do it. That's crossing the line as well with adults, with children. Doesn't free will choice should not be taken away from people.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I'm about to do an interview with a friend of a friend who's on the donor list and won't be able to get it unless they do this. And then I guess got some newsworthy energy going, and now it's been stipulated that we won't accept, this towards it or any organ towards it unless everyone's been. And so I heard that and I went, okay, I'm going to have to bring him on because that needs to be shared. I mean, you're talking about a lifeline here, and yeah, that just needs to be shared, period.
Yeah, I heard a guy somewhere in the New Orleans or something like that. He was taken to the hospital because he had heart issues, right? His heart is failing. And he was told, sorry, he was on a transplant to get a heart, but he was taken off of it because he wasn't, and he has 2 kids and a wife. He has young kids and a wife. And this guy is young. It's like, and do you know what the ethics board said? There's a higher chance you'll survive the surgery and you'll be inoculated if you have this. So when you have it, you'll deserve a heart transplant, because being inoculated with this gives you a higher chance of a better quality of life and getting the heart transplant and being a recipient from a donor. It's like, in what reality is that a law or a fact? Because people have been on donor lists and people have had transplants successfully done without that thing for eons now. So it's like, this is a new trend and a new fad that's immoral, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And I think that brings us back to like what you and I do and many other people in our healing modalities is we can offer support and healing within people, because we're all 1 degree of separation to any of it, because it can happen to any of us. And so the more we can be available to help people to heal, to look through things, get the emotional body, the physical body, the light body, help them raise their vibrations and, so on, I think helps people understand a little bit more about kind of going above the radar and being able to hover and see things a little more clearly than they did when they were in the density of the radar and below, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just, look, when somebody needs a heart transplant or any other transplant for organs or whatever, you don't deny them based on this thing or not. Same with surgery. It's like, if you need a life-saving operation or procedure, you get it, no questions asked. Again, that trend is dangerous, and I don't condone it.
Oh, I don't either. I don't either. And I think that's why some of us are standing up and speaking out a little more now. And, whether there's, people looking over videos and all that kinds of things, whatever, don't be blatantly ridiculous in your speech, but at the same time, put the energy out there. Most people are feeling the same way. They no longer want to tolerate what could be happening. And again, forward thinking, what's next? What's next? What's next? Oh, I'm sorry, I can only eat meat on Tuesdays. Half of you got to go to services on Sunday and the other half on Thursday. And it's like, okay, where do you draw the line?
Exactly. And it's like, it's all, what's next? Let's protect our rights and freedoms, our free will sovereignty, to operate in free will sovereignty. And people ask me, what is that? It's like the right to make your own choices in your life, whatever those choices are, and to not be told you can't, and to have your freedom. that's what it is in a nutshell. And when I say it that way to people, operate in your own free will, choice, and sovereignty. It's very easy to describe what that is in 2 or 3 words, and 2 or 3 words and nothing more. And then I become silent and I let them think about it. And they're like, yes, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
If so, most people already know what that is, and it's easy for them to figure out. But sometimes people ask, this has happened. I'm in this situation, and I'm like, where do you stand in your own free will, sovereignty? How do you operate in your free will and your sovereignty? How do you make your life decisions? We have that chat, how they do it and what's best for them. Like, I can have the chat, but I can't tell you what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And we don't judge
No.
whatever decision you make. You can still come back and be a client. It's okay,
Yeah. Well, I don't tolerate disrespect.
Well, of course not.
And, crossing personal boundaries and things. I have compassion for people. I understand usually people have reasons for what's happening in their life, and they're sweet and kind, but some people are not. And for those clients, I say, look, don't swear at me, don't yell at me, don't accuse me of things. I'm here to help you. If you cannot respect those boundaries, we need to think about whether it's right or not for us to continue to do sessions together. So I'm always respectful in that matter, but I'm very clear about personal boundaries. And I think we all are, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm probably a little more quick-tempered than you, because I command the respect, period. And if it comes at me in a different way, I don't reward bad behavior. It's, yeah, go over there, and then when you're ready, come on back. And yeah, I just don't do it.
Yeah, but sometimes people continually cross these boundaries and say, I'm sorry, I can't work with you anymore. Please don't come back, and go to somebody else. I can say that more freely now.
Send them my way.
Yeah, well. Well, sometimes we might not want people back. That's
true.
Because, again, we have to have our own self-respect, and we, as healers, we also need to have kindness, compassion, respect for each other as people. And just, as people, like you said, command self-respect. Mm-hmm. Because that's very important too. And we're people as well, just like everybody else. So we have feelings, we have emotions, and we have energy. So we keep a positive vibration to help others, and we hope others would keep the same with us and respect us too. It's a back and forth. So that has to be there in the relationship of healing and receiving healing or being healed.
Oh, sure. And I think sometimes these lessons come up to remind us that, oh, okay, I need to bring my boundaries back in. But at the same time, we understand someone's in pain, but at the same time, don't come home and kick the dog. Don't beat the messenger. You came to me, I'm working on helping you, but I energetically haven't had to cross that line. So yeah, I'm lucky so far, knock on wood.
Yeah, me too. But in the past, things have happened, and it's part of the healing. It's part of the learning. I don't blame those people for anything. They're going through their own things, but I don't cultivate negativity. I don't cultivate narcissism, ego, and psychopathic tendencies. I don't cultivate any of that. And if people are experiencing that, I say, well, this might not be the right healing modality for you with me, maybe with somebody else. And I give recommendations sometimes because there's people who work with narcissism, there's people who work with ego, there's people who work with things that, those types of clients need that type of help. I also refer them out to somebody else because I have no patience for those things.
Right. Well, your boundaries is also about your own health, for you to be as healthy as you can be and be present for those who really are wanting to come and be respectful and work with you and through you and you with them. And the other ones just, well, okay, well, I think this issue is something that another practitioner might work better with what's happening for you.
Exactly.
So, and when you're done there, if you want to come back, we can take a look at this again.
Yes,
You know?
exactly.
I mean, there's no reason, we don't have to be mean about it. There's
No.
graceful ways of going,
Yes.
there's the door.
Yeah, and again, I understand, and there's all kinds of types of people that need healing, that need release, that need understanding and compassion, including those with ego, narcissism, psychopathic tendencies. You know, there's all kinds out there. Not one size fits all works for the same type of healing or modalities. Sometimes there's other people better equipped to work with those people to help them, and I'm fine with that. I say, look, I think for what's going on with you right now, it's here. I know somebody else who you would be better to work with. And my circle of healing friends is very small. I don't know a lot of people. I try my best. If I know somebody, say this is the other person, or if I don't, I'll just say, just go have a look on the internet to see healers who can help you with this type of stuff, and look at reviews and how many stars those healers have. It's just, there's a lot of people out there doing healing. So I always say, look at the reviews of the person, look at how many reviews they have and how long have they been doing this type of work. Because if I don't know somebody who to refer to, I always say the internet is a great tool to do a good search to find somebody.
Yeah, I choose my healers always after my own intuitive. I'll know who to dial up and who not to dial up, you know?
Yeah, well, and when I was told by my family physician, I don't know, go find it yourself, I did, and I checked in intuitively, like you said, this is a great geneticist, but I also looked at the reviews of what other people said about him.
That's different. I agree with you. You have to do it without question.
Even with healers, because there's usually reviews about everybody these days. It's just there's nobody who's not an open book. If they've treated people well with kindness, love, and respect in sessions, that reflects in their reviews of how good they are. So I'm always mindful of that, because anybody can go and give a review, and you need to be a good practitioner with morals, kindness, respect, and decency towards others, and to treat people with kindness and compassion. Because, and I'm not saying that I want reviews or anything. No, it's just,
I get it. I wouldn't even know where to look for mine, honestly.
Yeah, it's just people expect kindness, decency, and to be felt like they're cared for in their sessions. And that reflects in reviews, because people do leave reviews. Mm-hmm. So when I look for a healing practitioner, I do a self check-in. If I find a name that I like, I do a self-internal check-in like you. If it feels good, great. But I also look for reviews, just to check in with my intuition. As a psychic, I like to check in with my own intuition. If I feel good about somebody and I really like them, okay, great. That intuitive self-check is done. Go look at the reviews, what other people experienced. It's all about experiences, because that helps to check in with the intuitive aspect of what you feel.
Sure.
And again, I don't leave comments on anybody's site in terms of reviews unless somebody asks me to.
Right.
Then I'll reciprocate, and I will, of course. It's just, if I enjoyed my session, I enjoyed it. I don't feel like I need to go type, review. That's not my way. But it is helpful when you're looking for somebody who is good at what they do, because their reviews will reflect that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that you would like to discuss or mention?
No, I think we're just going through a lot of energetic changes that, I mean, you could go ascension symptoms or whatever you want to put them, but I think we're just going through so many energetic things going on right now that some, and there's a next wave of like a lot of emotions coming up and memories coming up and so on, where a lot of people have done this already, right? So between that and no sleep and just all kinds of things happening, I think more people need to reach out for healing work because they're feeling that cray-cray, like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with me? Now, I will say this about myself, I've been doing this work for decades, but really all my life. And even I occasionally, with some of this energy and the no sleep and things that are coming through my dream state and where I've been going at night, I have said to myself, what the heck is going on? Like, I'm having a tough time just anchor, breathe, follow your own advice, anchor, breathe, follow your own modality. Yeah. How about you?
Well, my cat is every day vomiting and she's crying and she's howling. And that happens off and on. She's 10, there's stuff with her stomach. I do the healing. It gets better then. It happens sometimes. And she wakes me up at 5 a.m. until 7:10. And I'm like, patience, kindness, and respect for this beautiful animal. She's my baby. I don't have physical children, but this is my fur child. I never yell at her. I never snap at her. That's not her fault. What happens to her stomach? She needs to be fed at certain times. She's a senior citizen going on 10 now. All right. I look at it and like kindness, compassion, patience, and diplomacy with this sweet animal because she's adorable. She has stomach issues in the mornings. It happens to her in the morning. Sometimes it happens at 2. All right. I get up, I clean it up, I wipe her mouth, I give her food, I hold her, I pet her, I cuddle her until she falls asleep and she's eaten. I make sure she has her food. I calmly clean up the vomit and that's it. Go to bed. I don't look at it as a chore. I don't look at it as something I have to do. She is my child and I take care of my child. And if I haven't had any sleep and I need to work, I take multiple vitamin B12 complex and it wakes me up quicker. It gives me energy. I take vitamin D3. My tea with my cane sugar. I don't do white sugar. So I just have certain little protocols that if I haven't had enough sleep and I'm like, but I need to be awake and I need to be present and cognizant in the moment. Vitamin D3 works well. The vitamin B12 complex, mine is formulated by a naturopath. I only do vitamin B12 with my naturopath. I don't buy the grocery supplements. Those are not formulated properly. And I only do vitamin D3 in liquid form. I have one that's my favorite. So I don't take it in pills, and I also make sure that I have it with water or with something to eat. But vitamin B12, I don't have it with food. I have it 1 hour before food or 1 hour after, so it's not mixed in, absorbed incorrectly with the food, and it negates taking vitamins. So there's certain things you can do if you haven't had enough sleep to feel alive and awake and alert. That's what I do. And it's my cat. It's mostly every day that this happens for like a week or two, and then it stops and there's a great month of nothing happening and her being fine. It's stomach inflammation, and I heal it and I help her through it. She's a Maine Coon tuxedo breed. So she's very hairy, she has 3 layers of fur. Just imagine when that gets stuck in the stomach. The hairballs, the older you get, and it creates indigestion for her. And it's uncomfortable, and it's normal. Cats do throw up too. So it's like, I'm not making excuses for her, but she is my child. I take care of her. Unconditional love. I don't make excuses for her or myself. I just do what I need to take care of her and give her the best quality of life that I can without judgment. I just do it because I love her. We do things for the ones we love without question.
Yeah, and then take care of you when you don't sleep. I mean, for me, I'm accustomed to it. I mean, I thank goodness my constitution is a happy one. So, my bad moods, I learned early on, are unfair to put off on someone else. It's just not right. I don't want someone's dousing me with theirs. So, like, for example, last night, 1 o'clock, I'm wide awake. I'm like, okay, here we go again. But when I did try to fall back to sleep, I think it was about 4:35, the cat I had years ago came, and I literally could feel it. I was touching it. We were talking. We were having a different conversation. And then I apologized that I wasn't there when she actually passed. And then I just found myself literally crying, like literally that half awake, half asleep, just crying. Haven't done that in forever. So it was an emotional, release of a lot of things. But cats, there are energetic little barometers. They go around the house. They're like little dust bunnies. They clear up little energy things over here and over there that we don't see on our behalf. And so when they go through stuff, we need to be there for them. Dogs too. But I'm just saying animals in general, as they are there for us in different ways. So that's awesome. So yeah, the energy's just been a little good though. I mean, what I see is a lot of it's raining, and then there's a lot of energy flashing going on. There's a lot more going on at night because I've got some, I think, visitors parked out there for sure. I tried to take a picture of them at 2 a.m. this morning, but the lighting wouldn't let me do it. And sometimes they don't let me do it. They'll be like, yeah, that's not happening. It's not for me to post out. It's just to maybe share with a friend or two.
Are they ET visitors or human
I think,
visitors?
Yeah.
ET.
I think so. I mean, I had to ask because I am Washington, D.C. So, I mean, it could be, a new satellite that's up there, stealing everybody's computer information. I don't know. Or sending waves to wake me up. But I believe that it's one of them is my mothership. And I always know when they're there because I'll wake up wide awake and then I'm like, go to the window. I'm like, of course you are. There you are. But yeah, energies are changing, and even we were talking about the symbols earlier. I get all the orbs in my room, but lately I've had like in that half asleep, half awake, where I'm just seeing symbols and light language and all kinds of things. And I last night I actually tried to look some up, and I'm like, I couldn't find them anywhere. And I am not an artist at all. I can barely get a stick man to look like a stick man, but I'm attempting and I'm asking, okay, can I have a little more like finesse so I could just maybe, because I think this is going to be part of moving into a different avenue in my healing work, so who knows? Just the energy's just a little diff.
Yeah, I'm a graphics artist more so. I can draw certain things, but not people. I draw weird symbols all the time. And yesterday, I had a similar experience. I was asked about protection symbols and sigils for websites. And I was actually writing about my main website that the ETs helped me create it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to somehow translate how this website looks like into my book as an example. And there was too many color space in between everything on the website because I took a screenshot, right? And I put it in the book and it's like, there's something missing. Then I went to look for this pink purple protection symbol that is protective for protecting anything. And I put it on just the image of the website and it's like, wow, that's beautiful. I'm keeping that for the book. I can't have it on my actual website because that space doesn't look like it's being unused on the actual website. But when you take a picture of the website, it's like there's too much color space. You need something in there for the book. And when I did that, I worked 2 hours on modifying that symbol because I couldn't have it the same way as I found it.
Right.
I had to clean it up, like 2 hours of cleanup just for 2 pictures in a book. But when I finished with it and I had it on both images of 2 of my websites, I'm like, wow, I'm glad I did this because it's really protective and it's good for my book. It protects my book.
Yes.
I might not be able to have it on the actual website, but I could show people how to protect their websites with the images.
That's awesome because you do businesses and things like that. But I think some new symbols and some new things are coming in for sure. I mean, I know when you and I had our session, we were talking about my sixth dimensional higher self, Kelly, and I've seen her a few times from a distance. And then, of course, many of them can have different faces because they kind of ease into showing you, okay, I look kind of human, then I look kind of not human, then I look kind of like this. But actually, she came to me very human the other night doing a light language. It was so glamorous that I was like, could you, and I asked her to come back last night, but she didn't. But, you know, I want some more of those symbols too.
Exactly.
And that's what I did with my website. Palladium High Council of Six did the healing from afar phrase and to bring in the lotus flower. And so I worked with them on, you know, just because I'm just not big on talking about myself. I mean, it's just like, I mean, someone else can write a bio and I'm like, oh, she sounds pretty cool, but is that supposed to be me? Because that doesn't sound like me. I'm like, really just keep it simple, just like that. Just my work speaks for itself. I don't need a whole lot of embellished stuff.
Yeah, me neither. I like to do interviews to talk about other people, to hear other people's experiences and stories. When somebody asks me to do an interview about myself, I'm like, I've already talked about this so many times, these topics. It's like, I don't want to hear about myself or talk about myself. I want to hear about other people and interview other people and their experiences and stories. I'm not a journalist, but I have some journalistic training and research training, and I just like to listen to people talk and share their stories and experiences. That is very rewarding to me, to do these types of interviews with you and others, where I hear your story and then we do like a chat. It's not even an interview format. We just chat back and forth about ideas and things, about our experiences, whether similar or different. It's very rewarding to just hear other people's experiences. I don't focus on me. I've done me. I've chronicled all my experiences in my books and my shows and my presentations. It's all out there for anybody to see. I don't need to focus on me because there's so many other beautiful people that deserve to be heard.
Sure. And I agree with you, and thank you for having me on. And I too, I like to bounce a little bit and make it, you know, just sort of like what we just did. Hey, what was your experience? And then you sharing that, and me sharing this. And that's really what it's all about. It's two humans who are, well, kind of human, I guess, but yeah, we're human. I'm just kidding. You know, just doing this kind of work, and we're normal folk and trying to assist others out there. And it doesn't have to be this, okay, camera's on, now it's all on you. Let's just question, answer. And then they'll do another interview and it's almost the same. And it's like, okay, that's not working for me, you know?
That's a journalistic formula from the old days. I like the back and forth asking somebody, can you talk about yourself, who you are, what you do, what's your life story? That's still journalistic, but it opens a creative dialogue of expression where you chat without the formula in the middle. You still follow a bit of a journalistic style because talking is about, you know, getting to know somebody and finding out who they are and what they do. And I've known you through a session and through Kimberly Palm.
Yeah, we have some mutual friends, yes.
Yeah, so I've already known about your integrity, and I scanned you, and you're a beautiful, positive person. And I always scan people before they come on my interviews. I don't just say, hey, yes, anybody off the street, come on over, we'll chat. No, I scan a person to make sure they're positive, they're good, they're not spreading disinfo or misinformation. I just try to keep a positive vibration in interviews and on my YouTube channel. And you're a beautiful light soul. You're a beautiful light being.
Thank you.
And I feel comfortable with you. So it's like we have a lot in common, and we have some different things that we do. So it's just amazing to have this chat.
Yeah, because we don't live near each other where we can't gather at a coffee shop. So this is a great way to introduce ourselves and get to know on a deeper level, but then share it with others who are as interested as well.
Yeah, exactly. And just because we don't have close proximity, energy flows where energy goes. Same with healing. Like,
Right.
if you want to know somebody and get to know them, have a Zoom chat, have a phone chat, have a text,
Mm-hmm.
exchange emails. To know somebody, there's no barriers to get to know someone. You can call them. Technology allows to call, to text, to Zoom. And there's other platforms that allow
Yeah.
to communicate freely and easily. There's so many different ways to connect. There's no limitation to that in where we
Exactly.
are now. So it's amazing. I love Zoom. It allows for privacy. It allows for interviews. It's a great communication tool to facilitate talks and discussions. So it's an amazing time to be here on this
Yes,
planet.
I agree.
So
I agree.
yes, beautiful. And thank you so much for spending some
Well,
time
thank
today with
you.
me.
Yes, it's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Awesome. And I will send you the video.
All right, I'll look forward to it. Okay, bye.
Bye.